All right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the stable. We've done change. Let me get my notes up. Hold on, they've escaped me. There we go. I know I said I was done last week, but we've made another 7 changes. Now that's a compliment to myself because it was more like 12, but I just realised going through my notes, I actually went back multiple times to people I'd already had. So it actually works out to be just 7, which paints a prettier picture for me because it was worse. It was a massive reshuffle. Sims got in my head a bit. I'll say that I'm still very happy with the new team, with the new 7 changes. I'll say new. Some of the people I've traded out earlier are back. In fact, almost all these changes, only 2 of them are new. Completely new first entries. The other 5 I've floated in and out anyway. But we'll get into it because we're getting to the pointy end. We're almost there. We've got real pracky matches this weekend, so that's gonna be spicy. But my very first one was, how have I done? Oh, it's forward. So Reedy apparently was terrible, and it just looks like they're going to go pit net for Carlton. So Reedy had to go for me, and I went to Duff Tyler, but I did a bit of flex action to get Duff Tyler and then put him in the forward line. I have Mac Andrew there. I feel like I did that this week, but he's not in my notes. No, I'm pretty sure I did that last week. That's all right. And I called him Tyler again. It's Titler. We need to make sure this doesn't fly by and start the movement of the Titler because I'm over everyone calling him Tyler and it's getting to me. All right. So Cooper Duff Titler is in. There's a T there. All right. Also, he kicked 5 snags, they reckon, in the sim. And not on the sim in the intro before, but in the sim, still a few nice things. He is a key forward, so he's gonna drop a 30 every now and then. I'm a little bit worried at him 190, but if he gets a little bit of ruck, it will be fine. But he's one of these ones as soon as he's 300. If he gets to 300, you'll be upgrading him. But don't expect Cooper Duff Titler to get to 400k if you have him. My next one, we'll save that one for the moment because that's a big one. Now we're going to go straight to it. McKercher, as we all know, broke his finger. They still reckon he'll be ready by round 1. I don't trust it. He might be ready, but then Clarko's been using Daniel at halfback for the last 2 weeks before the season. He cannot stop shuffling the deck. As it is, McKercher needed nothing to happen, and he got injured. So he'll be ready back, but yeah, I had to bounce off him. And I initially went to Roberts. But I ended up going down all the way to Lawson Humphries. Now, if we watched Origin, everyone probably saw his second half, and he was a shout at the medal, in my opinion, because of his second half. I don't think he did too much in the first half, which is probably what hurt him. But I have a feeling Scott's going to give him a bit of the keys to this halfback. Now, he's going to be still dropping 70s, but I think you're going to see a few 110s this year off Lawson Humphries. And at 398, I'm kind of hoping he climbs to 500. That's my hope. Now, people might say I'm reaching, and if he doesn't, I think he's still going to be a good placeholder, and he might get to 450. But again, he'll be one of those placeholders that can drop a 110, in my opinion, this year. So he looked unreal in that second half of the Origin. And Scott was there coaching the other team, so he would have seen it. So not that he doesn't know what Humphries is capable. I think a lot of us saw Humphries last year and went, oh, fuck, hello. So, yeah, he's made it in. I don't think that's going to change. And I've said this stuff. I've said this stuff before, right? But I'm pretty happy with that pick. And he's only 2% owned, so obviously the Origin didn't sway people at all. But yeah, he's in. Roberts probably is a smarter choice because apparently Roberts is in the mid, which is nice. But we're going Humphries for now. Gibkiss also bit the dust. I still like Gibkiss. He's going to play every game. He's just a lockdown defender, is what they're saying now. He's a lockdown defender, just perennially scoring 40 to 50. And that's why one of my trades that didn't make it to deadline day of this week was Link. I brought Link McCarthy in, but he's apparently doing lockdown defender too, so I flicked him back out. But yeah, so Gibgis has gone to Grills. I'm going to leave Grills in. I keep bouncing in, out, but apparently he has a good role. He's going to go okay. You can hope for 350k is what the vibe I'm getting from the news with Grills. And he can put him on field because he's going to play. And like Gibkiss you can too, but lockdown, he could drop 30s. You know what I mean? They could just, yeah. So, Gibkiss for Grills. Everyone knows about Grills. He's at 53%. Yeah, and he's DDP, so that goes in his favour. And the next bloke actually is DDP as well. I flicked Sarong, Jai Sarong that is. Key defender, same thing. They can drop 30s. Or they can do a Zach Reed and drop hundreds constantly. So I'm keeping my eye on Jai Sarong. If his first opening round is 80, I might swing straight back to him. 80, even 70 plus, I'll probably swing straight back to him. But I've gone to Carmichael for now. Again, DDP, they reckon he's going to play. It went all right in the sim. The other one is Jacquez. I don't think Jacquez has DDP though, but yeah. And people have Carmichael and top 10 don't skips and that. So I've seen nothing. I've seen no footage. I've known about him this whole time, and he's 113, so he's close to the basement price of that 100 mark. So he's in for now. DDP, we can always use it. And again, Sarong, key defender, bit of cold feet, but I'm watching Sarong closely. If he has any looking like he's going to do a Zach Reed, I'm going to be straight back there before it's too late. Should we do my primo? If you've been tuning in, you can tell one of my M2's gone, and nothing really has happened. I've just got cold feet on him, and that was Noah Anderson. I don't know. I don't think you're going to go wrong having Noah Anderson, but yeah, at 620, I was like, I might just wait, but he might not come down. I still think he's going to have a cracking year, so I'm not really sure why I've gone off him. I just feel like in Supercoach, it didn't feel as safe as it could be, and with all this reshuffling this week, I was trying to chase funds. And he was one I was happy to go down to a bit. And we're back on the risk scale here because we've gone Sam Walsh. Mate, Sam, I can't believe he played 14 games last year. I've just seen that. 14 games. And he averaged 100. I felt like he was injury-ridden all year last year and he averaged 100. If he's fit, he's 110 plus average. He's a 620k mid. If he's fit, the problem is he's never fit. He's just so injury prone. Apparently, he has a lot of problems with his back, which is just you don't want to hear. That's shocking to have problems with your back. And I feel for him because he is a jet. Sam Walsh is a jet. But if he puts a full year together and you're not on him, you'll be filthy. Because like I say, he won't go under 110. I don't think his average will go under 110 if he's fit. And yeah, it is a bit quiet on him. 10% owned. So people are there, but it is a bit... For all the risky injury-prone people there are, I understand it's because he's 540, but it's real quiet on Walsh. I'm on him. I am a fan of Walsh as the player as well, watching football. I think he's a great watch. And again, it translates to Supercoach very well. 14 games last year and averaged 100. That baffled me. I always wondered why he was 540 still, because in my memory, I thought he hardly played, and when he did, he was shot. And I think he was shot And he still averaged 100. So Walsh is in. Another, like, my favourite risky play's gone already. He only lasted 2 weeks, and that was Joshua Shelley. I feel like this Joshua Shelley preseason, there's one every year, which is just a trap. It's just a trap. It is so exciting because he's another awesome watch on TV. He's awesome to like cheer for because he's exciting, always attacking, goal threat. But I think he'll be one of these players where you're watching the game and you go, oh, he's smashing it, and he scores a 75. I'm just don't think it'll like it could, and there's always ways to get back to him if he's looking like a one. Like, he won't be a 110 plus in my mind, but yeah, what was his average last year? Quickly, what was his average last year? Let me have a quick look. Joshua Shelley, 68. I understand he wasn't full time mid, but I think his average will be like 75 to 80 when I think about it. And why go there at 360k if you think his average is only going to go up to 80? So Joshua Shelley's gone. And the man himself is back because he is surviving. And that's Darcy Parish. For all the injuries that are happening and this bloke's still standing is baffling. He's risen to 46% owned because, again, I think people just didn't jump on him because they're like, he won't get there. I reckon he might be 60% owned by kickoff round one. If he's fit, because he's a walking 100. He's a walking 100. But again, he's not as good as Walsh. And Walsh is much better. And he's not as good to watch as Walsh, but his game translates to Supercoach heavily. He scores on Super so well. He's one you can watch and go, he's playing all right. And then you look, he's like got 105 points. So, yeah, and he's a ball magnet. Absolute ball magnet. So he's back in. He's back in. I can't believe I'm mad at myself. I got cold feet, to be honest. I should have trusted. And now to our last one. It was... I flicked Rechko to Farrow. And after I did that, Farrow got 1 touch and a half in the sim. So I'm a little bit... But people are hot on Farrow. Even Essendon players have had a few interviews and have talked about Farrow, said he's red hot. So pretty safe on him, I think. I think you're safe if you go Farrow. He's back in. So... And yeah, that's the new score. I'm pretty happy. Again, I'm pretty happy. Dare I say, I'm done. Look, I am tossing up Flick and Sherry down to Jackson. It's just trusting this bloke's going to play Jackson number 1 ruck, and I can't trust it. If Jackson's number 1 ruck, we should all have him. Everyone should have him. The only reason Jackson isn't the highest owned player in Supercoach is because we can't trust that this bloke will play in ruck. So, and I do think Sherry's going to lose almost all the centre bounces, but he'll win all the around the ground throw ups. So, paying 687, I'm like, you might be able to get Sherry for 650 pretty early. You might be able to. So yeah, we're keeping an eye on that. But everything else, I'm pretty happy with. If I don't say so myself. Oh, the Duff Titler too. I'm a little bit worried at 190k. Like I said, key forwards can drop 30s. And Will Brody in my flex, I feel like it makes sense because when he plays, he can score 100. But I also don't feel good having Will Brody in my flex at all. I know people have him fielded in the mid. But, yeah, I don't know. He's going to play the first 2 rounds at least. I'm pretty sure. I dare say that's a lock because Wines isn't back till round 3. It'll be interesting what happens when Wines comes back. But with 5 on the bench, you're thinking he's probably going to still find a spot. But he might take a time on ground dive. But anyway, well, that's the weekly update. That's the new team. Dare I say it, I'm done. But I'll do so next week if we are done. Let's try to make it to next week without a trade. Well, I'm going to try. There's pracky matches this weekend, so that's going to be tough. All right, but we're going to try. All right, everyone. Catch ya.